So in today's class, we'll be discussing about twin T oscillator. So actually, this is a structure of twin T oscillator. You can see that this C1, C2 and this R3 is forming one T network, as well as this R1, R2 with this C3 is forming a T network. So because you've got two T networks, that is this one and this one. So because you've got two T networks as a feedback network for your oscillator, it is called as a twin T oscillator. Okay, so you can see that. So this is called as RCR network, that is this one. This is the RCR network. It is formed by resistors R1, R2 and C3. So the values of R1 and R2 is taken as R, okay, and then the value of C3, that is this one, is taken as 2C. Similarly, the second network, that is, it is called as CRC network because you've got a C over here, C over here, and then one R. So it is like this. So CRC, okay, CRC. So the CRC network is formed by two capacitors, okay, and the value of C1, C2 is taken as C, and the value of resistor R3 is taken as R by 2. So I've redrawn the diagram with all these values. So the main thing is that it has got about two T networks, and that is why it's called as twin T oscillator. The next one, mainly why do we go for this twin T oscillator is that this twin T feedback network, that is the one you saw over here. So this twin T feedback network, it is acting as a notch filter, okay. So this particular network is acting as a notch filter. Notch filter means that it is acting as a band stop filter. So this is the response of a notch filter or band stop filter, okay. Now what will happen is, this is a resonant frequency, this is the frequency of oscillation. So here you don't have any phase shift, okay, here you don't have any phase shift, and here you'll be having signals passing through, and here you don't allow any signals to pass through. Here again the signals are passing, so this is acting as a band stop. So a particular band of frequencies you don't have any signal, and before this band and after this band you've got signals passing through a filter. So this particular twin T network is acting as a band stop filter. It's also called as notch filter, okay. So this one is a band stop filter. So I've just shown you the response of a band stop filter, and as I drew before itself, you can very well see that this is the response of the band stop filter or notch filter, that is a twin T network. The main thing over here is that to notice you have to look at the phase response, okay. So if you look at the phase response, you can see that at this resonant frequency, there the phase shift is actually zero. The phase shift is actually zero at this resonant frequency, and before the stop band you have a phase shift of minus 90 degree maximum, and after this band stop frequency you've got a phase shift of maximum plus 90 degrees. So what we're going to do is that we are going to design a twin T network. We are going to design our twin T network to work in this particular frequency, okay, in this particular frequency. So if I make it to work in this particular frequency, automatically what will happen is you'll be having a phase shift of only 0 degree, okay. So this is a circuit diagram of a twin T oscillator. So as you can see over here, this section is the twin T feedback network, and this entire section from here to here is the amplifier network. So because my feedback network is not giving me any phase shift, that is the phase shift is 0 degrees over here, I have to use an amplifier which is also giving me a phase shift of only 0 degrees, okay. So now what they are doing is that you can very well see this particular circuit combination, that is this Q1 and Q2. If you just look at this entire configuration, this is now a Darlington amplifier. a Darlington amplifier is considered using two transistors, and these transistors are used in common collector configuration. So common collector amplifier does not give you any phase shift. So therefore, we do not require any phase shift in our 20 oscillator amplifier, and that is why we are going for a Darlington amplifier. And the reason why we go for Darlington amplifier is that we can just be using a common collector amplifier. The reason why we are going for Darlington amplifier is that it is able to give you a very high amount of current gain. Okay, and when we just look at the resonant frequency of the 20 network, so when we look at the resonant frequency of this 20 network, you can see that the notch response was at 0. The response was at 0. Actually it is idle condition, but actually you will be having some amount of signal passing over here. This signal has to be increased in terms of its current, so that is why we go for a Darlington amplifier over here. And then further, there's one more amplifier that is used in the circuit. So this is also a common collector amplifier, that is an emitter follower. Okay, so here you can see that you've got a feedback network, one Darlington amplifier section, okay, and then the last one is also an emitter follower. So the output of emitter follower, that is the emitter output, is given as feedback to the 20 network. Okay, so now this becomes the input side and this becomes the output side. So it means that this is the feedback voltage, this is the feedback voltage, and this is the input voltage Vin. Okay, so now if we want to find the frequency of oscillation of 20 network, what we'll do is that we'll just analyze this feedback network. Okay, so now we are going to find the frequency of oscillation of 20 oscillator. So if we want to find the frequency of oscillation, what we have to do is we have to analyze the feedback circuit, that is a 20 feedback network. So I've just redrawn the 20 feedback network with the values as mentioned in slide 1. Okay, and if you want to analyze this feedback network, there are many methods, and this is the easiest one. What we have to do is we have to assign nodal voltages, and then we have to go for nodal analysis. Okay, so you can see that this node is taken as V1, and the junction between R and R is taken as V2. Okay, and between this R and C, that is the output node, is taken as V4, and between the C and this C we take it as V3. So these are the nodal voltages. So there are about total 4 nodal voltages, that is V1, okay, V2, and this one is V3, and then we've got about V4. So if we want to find the frequency of oscillation, we are going to find the feedback factor, that is we are going to find the output voltage V0 divided by the input voltage Vin, because in this feedback network, this is the output voltage V0 and this is the input voltage Vin. So therefore what we are going to do is that we are going to find the value of V4. Okay, so V0 corresponds to V4, so we're going to find V4 with respect to the value of Vin, that is V1, and this is nothing but the feedback factor beta. So we're going to find the value of V4 and V1. So if you want to find the value of V4 by V1, first what we do is we have to apply nodal analysis at V4. Okay, because that is the output and we are going to apply nodal analysis. So if you just look at this entire feedback network, if I apply nodal analysis over here, I can write this equation as V4 minus V2 divided by R, the first term. And then we've got one more branch over here. This value is V4 minus V3 divided by, you have a capacitance over here. So when you write the capacitance, you should write it as 1 by j omega c. So therefore, I have this equation for this node, that is V4 node. So what I do over here is that I just, this 1 by j omega c can be brought to the numerator. So I can write this one as V4 minus V3 into j omega c. Because this R is not a common LCM, we take the common LCM over here. This is the next step. Okay, so if I take a common LCM, I'll be getting this value as V4 minus V2 and then V4 minus V3 into j omega RC. Okay, j omega R is over here, so j omega RC. Then if I bring this R to the right hand side, this R will get cancelled. I'll be just having the numerator term equal to 0. So this is the numerator term equal to 0. So now what we do is we just combine the V4 terms on one side, we keep V4 terms on one side, and then we bring the other terms to the right hand side. So V2 and V3 is brought to the right hand side, so the signs will change. So if you see this V4 term, you can see that there's a one V4 term over here and the other term is j omega RC. So therefore we've got V4 as V4 into 1 plus j omega RC. Now from this equation, you just bring this 1 plus j omega RC to the right hand side denominator. So therefore you will be getting V4 as V2 plus V3 j omega RC divided by 1 plus j omega RC. So this is the value of V4. Okay. So if you look at this entire equation, you can see that I need to find the value of V4 by Vn, correct? But here I do not have V4 in terms of V1, I have it in terms of V2 and V3. Therefore, it becomes necessary for me to find the value of V2 and V3, then substitute the values of V2 and V3 in terms of V1 and then find the value of V4 with respect to the value of V1. That is, then find the ratio of V4 by V1. So now the next step, we are going to find the value of V2 and V3. So if we want to find the value of V2 and V3, we have to apply nodal analysis at V2 and then nodal analysis at V3. So we'll see the first one. If you apply at V2, okay, I'll go back to the circuit again. So now I have to write the equation with respect to V2. So if I take this V2n, okay, so the first branch I can write the value as V2 minus V1 divided by R, and then the second branch value it is V2 minus V4 divided by R. The third branch value is V2 minus 0, so it's nothing but V2. So V2 divided by 1 by 2j omega c, because it is 2c and it is 1 divided by 2j, okay, omega c. So this is the equation. So V2 minus V1 divided by R, V2 minus V4 divided by R plus V2 divided by 1 divided by 2j omega c. This 2 is over here. Now I just bring this term to my numerator. That is the next step. So if I bring it to the numerator, you will be having this value as V2 into 2j omega c. So then you take the common LCM, that is R. So if you take the common LCM, you just have this R in the last term. So this R is over here. Okay. Then again you bring this R to the right hand side. So now what you'll have is you'll just have the numerator term equal to 0. That will be your new equation if you bring the denominator term R to the right hand side. So in this equation you again rearrange, okay. You rearrange the equation such that you keep the V2 term on one side and the other terms on the other side, okay. So if you rearrange like that, you can see that the value of V2 will be, because we've got two V2 terms, so 1 plus 1 will be 2, so it is 2. And then this term is again a V2 term, so you'll be having it as 2j omega RC. So you've got 2j omega RC. You just rearrange this one and find the value of V2. So this is the value of V2 now. So we got the value of V2. I'm taking it as equation number B. The same way we apply nodal analysis for V3, okay. So I'll go back to the circuit again. So if you write in with reference to V3, the first branch value I can write it as V3 minus V1 divided by 1 by j omega c. The next value will be V3 minus V4 divided by 1 by j omega c, and the last term will be V3 minus 0 divided by R by 2, okay. So you can see over here. So the first value is V3 minus V1 divided by 1 by j omega c. The next value is V3 minus V4 divided by 1 by j omega c, and the last value is V3 divided by R by 2, okay. Now this 2 goes to the numerator, so we'll be having it as 2, 3. That's a change over here. And this R is there only in the last term. We take the common LCM, that is the next step, okay. So if I take the common LCM, I can write this value as V3 minus V1 into j omega RC. So you'll be getting j omega RC. And this term will now become V3 minus V4 into j omega RC plus 2V3. Now you just expand the equation, meaning that you just multiply all these terms inside, okay. So if you multiply the terms inside, you will be having expanded equation like this. So you'll be having the first term as V3 j omega RC minus V1 j omega RC plus V3 j omega RC minus V4 j omega RC plus 2V3 is equal to 0. And as before, you bring this R to the right hand side, so it will be 0. Now we will be just having the numerator term equal to 0. And if you rearrange and if you keep v3 on one side and the other terms on right hand side, you'll be having like this. You will be getting equation like this. So in this equation, you again rearrange and write the value of v3. Okay. So the v3 value is found as j omega rc into v1 plus v4 divided by 2 plus 2 j omega rc. So this is taken as equation C. So now I found the value of v2 and I found the value of v3. So these two values has to be substituted in equation number A, that is here. Now substituting equation B and C in equation A, I've written this equation. So V4 is equal to, so this is the value of, so if you take this equation, that is V2. So the value of V2 is taken. So V2 is V1 plus V4 divided by 2 plus 2j omega RC. So here it is V1 plus V4 divided by 2 plus 2j omega RC. And this is the value of V3 that you've got. So V3 value is j omega RC, V1 plus V4 divided by 2 plus 2j omega RC. So this is the value of V3, and this is the value that was there in equation A itself, that is j omega RC divided by 1 plus j omega RC. So just substitute B and C in equation A. Okay. So after you substitute, you can see that here it is a common value, that is 2 plus 2j omega RC. So it is taken as a common LCM, and then you just multiply this term inside. Okay. So if you just multiply this term, you will be getting this equation as V1 plus V4. So j into j will be j squared, and then omega squared r squared c squared. Okay. So this value now will be changing into minus sign. So you'll be having minus omega squared r squared c squared into V1 plus V4 divided by 2 plus 2j omega rc whole divided by 1 plus j omega rc. Okay. Now you just have to simplify the equation. So you can see that these two terms, that is this term, can be brought to the denominator over here, and these two terms can be multiplied with the value on your left hand side, that is V4. So if I multiply, I can write this value as V4 into 2 plus 2j omega rc into 1 plus j omega rc. So that is what is done over here, just bringing this term to the left hand side. Then what you do is just you multiply the value of 1 plus j omega rc with the value of 2 plus 2j omega rc. So after you expand the equation, you will be able to get a simplified equation. So this term will be joined together, okay, and you will be getting it as 4j omega rc. And here, because you've got j squared, it will be minus 2 omega squared r squared c squared. That is equal to the left hand side term, that is this right hand side term, it doesn't change, it remains same for all the three equations. Okay. Now lastly, what you do is that, next step what you do is that, if you look at the previous slide, right hand side, you've got V4 term here also, and there's another V4 term here. So you bring these terms to the left hand side in the next step. So this term of V4 and this term of V4 omega squared r squared c squared is brought to the left hand side. So this equation will be added with the value of plus V4 omega squared r squared c squared minus V4. So that is what is done over here, and because V4 was taken outside, this becomes minus 1. Okay, so minus 1 plus omega squared r squared c squared, because V4 was taken as a common term outside. So if you just cancel the common term, so 2 minus 1 will be 1. Okay, and this value, if you see, it is minus 2 omega squared r squared c squared, and this value is plus omega squared r squared c squared. So you can minus these two values and you will be getting it as minus omega squared r squared c squared. So it will be just 1 minus omega squared r squared c squared plus 4j omega rc. That is equal to, you've got a V1 term, so this it is, you've got a V1 over here. So V1 is common. Okay. So because V1 is common, I can take it outside. So I'll be having it as V1 into 1 minus omega squared r squared c squared. Since we already know that V1 is equal to Vn, I've already told you about this in the feedback network. We've assumed the voltage V1 as Vn and V0 as V4. Okay. So I can just rearrange this equation, bring this V1 to the left hand side denominator. So I'll be getting the new equation as 1 minus omega squared r squared c squared divided by this entire equation. Okay. So it is 1 minus omega squared r squared c squared divided by this left hand side term. So 1 minus omega squared r squared c squared plus 4j omega rc. So in the last class, when I was discussing about the Weinbridge oscillator, what we've done is, if you have a term in the denominator which is a complex number, you have to multiply and divide by complex conjugate. So the next step is, what we do is, we multiply and divide by complex conjugate. So the complex conjugate over here, it will be nothing but 1 minus omega squared r squared c squared. This positive sign will change it to negative sign. So you'll be having minus 4j omega rc divided by the same term. So when I multiply and divide by complex conjugate in the numerator, you can see that, so 1 minus omega squared r squared c squared into 1 minus omega squared r squared c squared. So it will become 1 minus omega squared r squared c squared the whole squared. Okay. So minus and then minus. So minus 4j omega rc, 4j omega rc into this term. So 1 minus omega squared r squared c squared divided by, so this term in the denominator, it is of the form a plus jb into a minus jb. Okay. So when you've got multiplication of a plus jb and a minus jb, the simple answer will be nothing but a squared minus b squared. Okay. So you just multiply these two values and you'll be getting the value as a squared minus b squared. I've given the equation over here. You can check the value. And if you want to find the frequency of oscillation, you have to just equate the imaginary part to 0. So my imaginary part equation is this term. It is 4j omega rc into 1 minus omega squared r squared c squared divided by this entire denominator. Okay. So if I set this value to 0, if I multiply this value with the right hand side, that is 0, this will automatically be 0. So I can neglect the denominator and I can just write the numerator value. So I'm writing the numerator value over here. So it is 4 omega rc 1 minus omega squared r squared c squared is equal to 0. Again this 4 omega rc, this term can be neglected, because if I bring this term to the right hand side, it will be made as 0. So this can be neglected. So now I can write as 1 minus omega squared r squared c squared is equal to 0. So now if I just expand the equation, or just if I write the equation, I can write it as 1 equal to omega squared r squared c squared. So again now omega squared becomes 1 divided by r squared c squared. I need to find the value of omega. So omega is found as 1 by rc. Therefore from this you can find the value of f. So f is equal to, omega is equal to 2 pi f. So therefore I can write the value of f as 1 by 2 pi rc.